I got this badge from Dahan Toastmasters. It's the DTM, like our Toastmaster of the day, the MC, he said, I got that. And when I got it, it was probably the only one at that time. But I know now we have so many of them, and I'm proud of them. Today, in half an hour, I hope, we'll shed light on the most critical process called judging, which is, it's not something easy to do, because we are told not to judge people, right? But we volunteer to be judges in contests. Why do we have contests? Anybody? Why do we have contests?
Contest challenges us to rise up to our highest standard in delivering speeches. It helps develop us as speakers.
Exactly. We are given opportunity to listen to speakers who take the challenge and come forward away from their comfort zone, because in contest we expound, we learn a lot, and we compete against ourselves first, than our colleagues. Because you compete against yourself, you have to raise your standard. But in order to have a fair contest, we need to have a very good process called judging. Because in my mind, I can tell you, it is a subjective process. And as a human being, we like to make it as objective as possible. Because no matter what, as a human being, we have something that really shifts us from being fair, becoming biased for a reason or another. Now, judges, there is only one thing they need to do. I'm trying to move this thing, but I don't know if it's not moving. Huh?
I can see where you're operating.
Oh, I think I should put it on first.
Oh, yeah, it's not on?
It's not on.
There you go.
So here you go. This one is telling you the end of the story. What judges do, they select winners. And basically, in our criteria, we select 3. Always we have to select 3 winners, first, second, and third. But how did we come to this conclusion? There is an intricate process to achieve these results, that each judge will use his skills, his knowledge, to select winners that compete and perform in front of him or her. Now, what a judge should be? How can he select these winners? So the role of the judge, ladies and gentlemen, is to select winners, not to evaluate. We all learn in Toastmasters the evaluation process. So, Amir, when you want to evaluate somebody, what do? You give him the things that he needs to improve on, and things that he's done well. So you elaborately explain what he has done and what he is supposed to do. A judge will not ever come and tell the speaker how he did. He has only one form. Anybody here has been witnessing the Olympics or the gymnastics? You see judges that sit there and they see the ice skaters or the lifters, and they put points. Whoever gets the highest points will be the winner. That's exactly what judging is all about. So it's not evaluating at all. Okay? Now, in order to do that, as a human being, we have to be objective. But can we always be? I can confess that a lot of times I myself have my own preferences, my own biases. And so in order to be impartial, I have to learn the skills and practice it. So today I hope in this short wonderful workshop. He said, wonderful. I know judging is not an easy process. It's very boring. But those who take that challenge and they learn it and they practice, they will see that it is really, really working. Okay. Now, I believe if Muhammad Zawad is here, I will tell him, should a judge be fat? He would say, yes. What? Did you say fat and beautiful? No. Just fat. What is fat? First of all, he has to be fair. In other words, you cannot, as a judge, believe that because I'm a man, I'm going to select this winner because he's a man. Or because I'm white, I'll select him because he's white. Or because I am Saudi, I will select this person, he's a Saudi. And this year in Cincinnati, 3 winners were non-Americans. And we were really competing in Cincinnati in the United States. And one of them was a young lady from the Emirates called Shurub Al-Banna. Anybody heard that?
You see her speech.
You heard that speech?
On YouTube, yeah.
So you see, they chose a woman and they chose a man who is the champion of the world, who is a Bulgarian. Hungarian or Bulgarian? I think he is not American anyway, but he lives in Chicago and he has an accent. He doesn't, when you listen to him, he definitely has a Bulgarian accent. And the third one was in New Zealand, but he was not from the Americans or the Anglo-Saxon, complex. So he was also a different. So we have chosen 3 winners as judges, and I'm going to tell you that I was proud to be part of the team. I was an official who helped the chief judge. Anyway, you have to be fair. So everything you have to move from your brain. Ethnic background, religion, racism, anything you think of, you have to move it as a judge. My brother is so good speaker. And he came and delivered a speech in front of me and didn't do well. Yet there is another person that I don't like, but he performed well. As a judge, I have to be trustworthy and I will select not my brother, but the one who performed on stage in front of me. This is how a judge should be. He should be accurate, because if you don't watch and live the performance of your speaker to be accurate in giving him the points, you'll not be able to do a good job. So you have to be accurate. Okay? In all the criteria that we will talk about later. Okay? Finally, T stands for, just I mentioned, trustworthy.
Trustworthy.
Okay.
So if you are trustworthy, the results will be exact, will be accurate, and you will have really a fat judge. Somebody who is really fair,
Accurate.
accurate, and trustworthy. Is that all enough? How can we become fat? How can we? You have to be knowledgeable, okay? You have to learn the process. There is a book, which is the speech book, which is always renewed. This year it is renewed, 2014, and you can go to www.toastmasters.org and download a digital form, which is 2014. This manual is our important document that we follow. We have to learn it very well, okay? So be knowledgeable in learning all the laws and the requirements for the contests. Second, a judge cannot just sit there and daydream. You got to be a good listener, a big ear, like this gentleman here, okay? And good observer. You have to watch every move of the speaker, because there are criteria to exactly give numbers and values for the performance of that speaker. Gestures, all this, you have to observe. Now, The last thing here, as judges, in order to be trustworthy, we are told to keep quiet and keep the results confidential. So you need confidentiality. So this is a law. We cannot tell you exactly what happened if I'm a judge and a speaker comes and tell me, how did I do? Why didn't I get number one? So if he's your friend, you might tell him, oh, you know, there is something here and there. So you are leaking some information, and this is not healthy. It's not good. Because he might go and get this information back to other people and it becomes chaos. You know, you don't want to do that. So keep quiet and don't spill. Oh, yes.
Can I also say that tally counters have to hold the confidentiality as well? I've experienced tally counters going after the vote has been counted, saying, you only lost by 1 point, or you only, I've heard conversations like that, so the confidentiality is also
Thank you
with the
again
tally
for saying
counters.
that. Actually, all the officials, even the timers, they are told by the chief judge, all the judges, they have an oath to be ethical and not to pass information, not to even to their colleagues. How did I get score? Sometimes you have tendency to say, oh, I scored all of them. 1, 2, 3. You tell people that you are bragging. You are a good judge, you scored all of them. You don't have to tell them. So the timer, the tally counter, all of them should keep that confidential. Okay. Now, I just mentioned that we have to be objective. But there are, as human beings, we have a lot of barriers for objectivity. In order to avoid those, you have to understand. Now, in this previous example I gave you about the speakers of Toastmasters International, the 10th speaker won. Not because he is number 10, but he was so good. But we have tendency as judges, when we sit down, we first listen to the first one. Pay attention to us. Then when we have 10 or 5 or 7, we try to ignore them in the middle and we just remember the last one. And we give the points to the first and the last. So try to avoid this as a judge. Always remember, not the first and the last are important. The second, the third, and all of them you have to pay attention. And we will practice it. Second barrier to objectivity, champions for underdog. We always tend to go with somebody who is maybe underdog, somebody handicapped, you know, on the wheels. We had a champion who was on the wheels. He didn't win first time, second time he won. Maybe after 5 years he won the championship. You remember that Australian?
Yeah.
He won because he was good, not because he was crippled and he was on the chair. There is the third one, which is the halo effect. Every one of us is guilty of that. The reason is because we always tend to say, oh, Muhammad Isa is so good in humor. And he must be very good also delivering international speech. So they give him, the judge will give him the benefit of the doubt because he's already has good trait as a champion of humor. So what you do is avoid the halo effect. Halo effect happened and then somebody won. I think it was my friend Abdullah Ben. And people said, anyway, later on, all these halo effects after people get trained, they start disappearing. So I remember that he said he didn't win, and Ahmed didn't win. You remember in the Sihar, he lost? That's because people start learning and training. So watch for that halo effect. The reverse halo effect is the opposite of that, where you give people credit for something they don't have. Second time around, everybody has been here for a long time. You can see somebody coming to the contest, and you've seen him again. You say, okay, he has done it before, so let's give somebody else a chance. So we don't want to give him a chance. Exactly like what I say, give someone else a chance instead of the one who won. Gladly, Toastmasters International, when we become champion, you are not given another chance to compete again.
Ever?
That's it. They don't compete after they become champion. So they are saying, that's it, you got your credit, now we give somebody else. The last one is not the norm. You know, some people will come with music and sing, and if I don't like singing, I say, oh, that's not norm, so I put lower grades. I don't give them good remarks, which is not good. So you have to understand the other cultures. Like Filipino, they always stand on stage and dance sometimes. As a judge, Saudi dance, oh, why dancing? So you can tend to use your culture against their culture. So don't do that, okay, as a judge. Now you see those barriers to objectivity. Remember to avoid them when you are really judging. Okay? As a judge, you should know that we have disqualification of the speaker for two important things, which is originality and the first one, eligibility. How do you know that he's eligible? Because if you are an active postmaster and you always pay your dues and you are always there, you are eligible. You know that from the sheets that is written and signed. And the originality, everybody adapt and get information from others. If you cite what you've done, codes, if you use only 25% of other people's material, it's okay. But the speech should be yours. This is how we judge it as judges, say this is original. This is original because 60 or more percent is your own material, okay? But the rest, if you take it, you have to cite which one you are taking it from, okay? And the last one, the judges do not care about timing. It's only for the chief judge. So timing, as a judge, you don't worry about because there is a timer sitting and making the record for it. Okay. Now, I'm glad that we have on the agenda this form, which is 1171. This is the contest rulebook that I just mentioned, okay? And the 1172 is the ballot that you have to use today. You will have speakers, and those speakers, I think there are two of them, and their name is speaker number 3 and speaker number 4. We will try to evaluate them based on the criteria that we will discuss today. Just flip it back and look at this ballot. Okay, now, do you promise to go back to the website and download this digital book?
What is the name?
It is,
What's the name or number?
1170.
this one?
Yeah.
This is 1171. It's called the Speech Contest Rulebook. It's already been updated 2014. And it is free for all members. You can go to you log your ID and download it. It's free. I have only one copy of the old one, which is 2013. But what they did, they updated, and they have only one minor thing about judging. They changed 2013 and they make it 2014. They made that judges can compete. Before, they were not allowed to compete at all. Now, if you are competing at your club level, they say you can judge another place. Okay? We were in the beginning, we were saying no judges allowed to. The moment you become a judge, you cannot compete. So Faisal, if you are going to compete, you still can be a judge. He's avoiding to compete, he said. Okay, let's go to this one, please. And look at it quickly so we can move on with ours. This ballot is a guideline for us. It has three major things. If you look at it, content, 50%. We have 50 points. So the total points that we give each speaker, what is the maximum point? Okay. Maximum point for a speaker. When we say he can get 100 points. We can give a speaker 100 points. 50% of it is on content. Can anybody look in that sheet? Speech development, 20 points. Effectiveness, 15, and speech value, 15. So, if you want to look at his structure, beginning, body, conclusion, he has very good structure. You understand that he has good organization. So, you can select a point and give it to that gentleman. Now, what I do when I start having 5 or 6 speakers in front of me I want to judge, I go and look at this column, which is fair, good, very good, excellent. You look at it. Do you have it? I like to draw a line from top to the bottom in all these categories, and I choose between good and very good. This is my starting point to give the first speaker. I say, this is easy for me. Whoever is better than this speaker, he moves up a notch. Whoever is less, he goes down a notch. Okay? So you do that for yourself by putting a straight line from top to bottom between good and very good. So if he is an excellent speaker in speech development, you put him like 19 or 18 points. Because you have to give another person higher marks if he's better, so you put him 19 or 20. Okay? If the next speaker is less, you just put him down a little bit. He becomes 14 or 13. All right? Now the second item is effectiveness. As a listener, I said judge has to be a good listener. Did he give a clear purpose about why he's speaking? Some people, they wait too long to give you the purpose. So you have to give him lower points. The one who gives you right away, you know exactly where he's going in his speech. He's very clear. So an effectiveness and achievement of purpose, yes, I received the award. I might give him 14. The highest point is 15. If it is really not, it's shabby, you don't know what he's talking about, maybe he will speak about the purpose at the end of the speech, you might give him 6, between 6 to 10, which is good. Those who do not have purpose, what do you do? Are you afraid to give them 0? There is a fair between 0 to 5. I put 1 or 2, because he didn't help me. As a listener, I'm confused. I know that all the audience are confused like me. So I don't have to give him high. Okay? Speech value, same thing. Was it logical? Did he bring the ideas very well? Was it really thinking that I benefit from what he spoke? Then you evaluate. There's another technique that you use. After you put that line, you have a sheet of paper. Please use a sheet of paper extra to mark points, plus and minuses. For instance, if somebody is really having very good voice and he had too many variables, changed his tones, so you add pluses. If somebody is flat, he's not improving in his vocal variety, so you put minus. And at the end you can tell how much each speaker from these pluses and minuses is a separate sheet. Okay? So you have a separate sheet. This is the best thing I feel, in my opinion, that help you as a judge to mark and give grades to those speakers. Okay? Now, I said we have 3 sections: content 50%, and the delivery is 30%, and the last thing is language is 20 points, 20%. Okay? So you understand this sheet, you just go by it exactly. For instance, appropriateness. Some people say, what's appropriateness? When you look at the language, you give 20%. 10% or 10 points on appropriateness. Did he use language that really fit for the speech? Did it really fit the audience? If you have young children and you are delivering a speech and you use all these huge words, Would the children understand? So as a judge, you say, no, he's going over the head of the audience, so as appropriate is not good. And correctness, as a second language speaker, most speakers here, they will range the same. Those who are really very articulate and don't make any problem with grammar, they might get high scores. The rest, I can see that all judges give all the speakers the same range, like 4 to 6 points. I haven't seen anybody reaching 10 points. Why? Because some people made a lot of mistakes in articulation, in pronunciation, and enunciation. And I have seen people like you who have never problem with pronunciation. But sometimes I can catch you in doing bad grammar, and I have to not to give you the 10. But because he is so humorous, I might have halo effect, right? And say, okay, he might be very good in humor, he will be also good in grammar. But then if I get myself trained, I know halo effect is not good, I say no. He's good in humor, but he's not perfect in grammar. So I say, all right, I'm going to give him only 7 or 6. Okay? So these are the criteria that you need to do. Plus, make sure that the first speaker, you put him in that line, vertical line, either this side or that side, and then you follow on the next. The best thing is not to look at your score. And what they do, sometimes they hide the first scores they did for the first speaker. So you are not influenced by the first speaker because the second one is better or not better, and then you look at the grade. No, that is at the end of the process, you look at your scores. As a judge, you will deliver this mark without being, there is no tie. You have to break the tie in your sheet. And what you do, you just take that out and give it to the counter, the tally counters. When you are done with the calculation, they give you enough time to calculate. Now, as judges, you have the responsibility to attend a briefing. A workshop like this, it will only give you some information and knowledge. But in order to practice and learn, you have to be judge. And those who are eligible to be judges are those who finished 6 speeches from the basic manual, and they attended the workshop, and they also attend the briefing of the workshop of the chief judge. So you have obligation to do that. Okay? So pay attention to these important things. Okay? Judge's certificate. This are given to you so you can sign. When you sign it, you are saying I'm eligible judge. Paying my dues, I'm an active member. I also attended a workshop, and I also have finished 6 speeches. By signing that, it's like binding agreement. You give it to the teacher, that's it. You are done. Okay? The second one, I told you about the book. Please download it and keep it. If you have a smart card, smartphone, or iPad or anything, keep it on there. Always review it, because it's very important for you as a judge. Keep it always as your review, okay? And the International Speech Contest Diet, the one we just discussed, this one. Now, the tiebreaker, which is another function of a judge, if you are not selected as a judge, sometimes they say we need a tiebreaker. Because what happens since we are having different ideas and different objectivities as human beings? You have to select enough panel of judges so we can break the biases. Because if we have 5 judges, they are recommending that we have 5 judges for the contest at the club level and higher 7 at the area level. In the Toastmaster International, they had 18 judges. 3 of them, they just review the speeches, written speeches. They read the speeches word by word. So you have no plagiarism, you have no copyright rights, So the 3 of them, they say, okay, it's a good. And the rest 14 are different judges. So we break all that biases with judges. Okay? Now, we are done. Please, I want you to use this in the process, and we will evaluate you. What did you learn in this short? We have 2 speakers we want to evaluate, like I said. Number 3 and 4. 3 speakers. I think this gentleman is presenting something else. 3 to 4. We want only to have the 5 to 7 because these are for 5 to 7 speeches. Okay?
Can you also go over the points, how they
The map? No, actually, when you look at the column that you have here, for instance, let's say speech development, you gave the first speaker, you have number 1, you gave him 19 points, and then you calculate everything till the end, you have total score from 100, you might have like 80. The next one will be 81, another one will be 90. So you select the best one and put him as your first speaker.
And that means he's getting 3 points from
No,
that judge.
the 3 points, these 3 points will be given to the tally counter.
Yeah, from that judge. Then another judge will give another number. So these are what matters at the end.
Yes. So you are putting first winner, second winner, third winner. And those names will be given to the tally counter. I told you, when you cut this, after you sign it, you cut this page, this sheet will be confidential, it's yours. You don't tell it to anybody. You just tear this out, and you are putting number 1, number 2, number 3, and that's it. The tally counter will take it from you, will go to a separate place, and they will tally, and they will get the winner, because each judge might have different. By the way, when I was listening to the speakers, I put, for me, I told you I should be confidential, I shouldn't tell you that, right? But this is your job, I can tell. I put in verbally that the last one, that Hungarian, is the winner. Because I've seen the audience, and I've seen what he did on the stage. He was an amazing speaker. I said, he is number 1, and this lady from Emirates, number 2, and the New Zealand, number 3. I'm a good judge, but it turned out that, no, all the judges combined, it turned out that the lady is number 3, and the Hungarian was number 1, and New Zealand number 2. So I had a problem with 2 and 3. But that's okay. The moment you select the 3 winners, you are really doing a good job as a judge. So I will end now. If you have any questions regarding this ballot, this ballot is like the guideline that you go with. If you have any problem with the ballot, tell me so we can explain before we go proceed.
Thank you very much for an informative workshop. I have 2 comments and a question. The first comment is we will download the booklets and the forms and we send it to everyone. So you don't need to worry about that. We'll do it.
You can download digitally?
Yeah, and we will send it electronically to everyone. The second comment I have for you is I love the idea that you split between good and very good as a baseline to benchmark the other contestants. This is a great tip. And I had a challenge before, but I like that. This is great.
But you have to use the paper, extra paper, just to give you additional
Positive or negatives.
yeah,
just
pluses and minuses. Like if somebody is really bad in language, you just say minus
fair.
next to his name. When you come to put the number for correctness, he's not 10 definitely because there are so many minuses.
Right.
And if you are talking about effectiveness, then you have either pluses or minuses. How many pluses you have for this speaker?
Okay.
And versus the other one. Okay?
Excellent. The last one is originality.
Yes.
Can a speaker reuse a speech that he did as part of a club meeting or earlier contest in a competition?
That is his own.
It's his own. But
You can do it on the international level as well. Anything it's your own,
the same
and
speech.
it did not win this year, you might modify a little bit to make it look good and proceed with it. So it is your own original. Okay? Anybody else? I think I will turn it back to our Toastmaster.
We're lucky tonight that we have two distinguished Toastmasters. First one you heard from, you just heard from him, and the second